Hey yo, what's up y'all? DPD19 with gonna be, I don't know, probably a long video about what I think about the reveal from the sneak peek yesterday from MetaZoo. What it is, this camera's crooked slightly. It's gonna bother my OCD. Fuck it. What I think about it. Am I for it? Am I against it? Talk about the uproar of people. And yeah, so we were given the sneak peek yesterday. Saw it. Wasn't the biggest fan when I first saw it, but I'm like, it's, you know, first time looking at it. Anything different from original MetaZoo is gonna be like a mental shock to a lot of people. Cause and it's one thing I don't understand is we all knew it wasn't gonna be exactly like old MetaZoo. We all knew it wasn't gonna be the same, that they were gonna change the card layout and the card backs. But for some reason there's people that thought that it was going to be similar, that thought it was going to be close-ish. Like, some of y'all just put unrealistic expectations and thoughts in your head, if I'm being honest with you. Like, I get if you don't like it and it doesn't, give you the old Zoo vibes. I can get that. But if you were under the impression that they were just going to make it the same, then I can't help you. Like, what am I going to do about that? But it's one of those things where the card backs I actually enjoy. I thought that was going to be the main thing I was going to dislike from the new cards because I knew it was going to be different. I didn't know how different. But for the card game itself, I think it's solid. I don't think it's too flashy. I think it's, might be a little minimalistic, but I think it gets the point across. And let's be honest, when you have a card sleeve on, you don't see the back, so it doesn't really matter. And it looks clean. You still have the colors for all the auras and everything in the back. So I personally don't have a problem with the back. I like it. It had to change regardless. If anyone bitches about, the card backs changed, you knew it before, and if you didn't know it before, then that's your problem, not mine. And then the front layout, I'm either or about it. Some cards I think it looks decent on. Some cards I think the art that's placed on it looks out of place. And I'm not the biggest fan of it. And I'll kind of go over like what cards I liked, what cards I didn't like, and go from there. And, I know some people are saying stuff like, oh, Charlie and them said that they were listening and look at what they did. Let me make this abundantly clear. Number one, he spent with him by himself with a group of investors, I don't care how it was, spent $2 million. They can do whatever the fuck they want with it. It is their baby, their project. Okay? That's number one. That's what some people need to get through their head. Two, I can listen to you and your ideas and filter out the dog shit ones or the ones I don't want to do and take some that you say and go with it. Okay? Just because they didn't listen to every single idea you had doesn't mean they're not listening. They're taking into consideration every single idea. If there's certain things that they already had preset beforehand and it's like this is a non-negotiable, then this is a non-negotiable. There's no changing their mind. Like, again, they spent the money for the project. They've been working on it for a good amount of time, spent a lot of money. They can do whatever the fuck they want with it. And just because they're not using every single idea you wanted doesn't mean they're not listening. There's some things they did that, is them listening, but they're not going to listen to every single idea. Like, you can get, like, me as a project manager, you can give me 50 ideas of how you think I can improve company morale, my management style, to how a company's run, yada, yada, yada. There's a reason that you're in the position you're in, and I'm in the position I'm in. And also, I will take into consideration everything people say, but there's a lot of things that people don't have all of the other knowledge or thought process or how you get from A to Z when stating some of these blanket requests or blanket improvements. Like, you can say, oh, it's not that hard just to keep the old MetaZoo look. What if they don't want it? What if that's not going to get them the target demographic that they want to reach? Like, this is meant for more, it's not meant more for kids, it's more meant for everyone. And you don't need to like every card's art, every card's layout to like the game. Let's be real here. Majority of the MetaZoo sets, y'all couldn't give a rat's fucking ass about majority of those cards, majority of the artwork. I didn't notice so many non-holos amazing artwork until I was buying playtesters. I did not look in depth into it or even care. And that's what most people did. And I am a hardcore collector. And I didn't notice any of those. So many people didn't. You just sift through the commons, you want to get through the holo. And even the holos, you don't give a fuck about most of the holos. You don't give a fuck about pretty much any reverse. Unless you're a player, which you're just going to buy the singles most likely anyways if it's cheap, you could not give a rat's ass. 90% of the cards you can pull from UFO, the people watching this video did not give a fuck about. You didn't give a fuck about orbs. You didn't give a fuck about the Aurifax. You didn't give a fuck about most that wasn't a Supernova 6. You probably liked Men in Black. You probably liked Van Meter. And I'm trying to think of any other ones. You might have liked, the artwork of like Agua, but that ain't worth shit. Same thing with like Houston Batman. But you're not going to be happy pulling it. You're not going to be like, oh, sick, I pulled a Houston Batman. No, you're going to be like, fuck, I pulled a 10-cent card. Like, and the artwork, a lot of people couldn't care for a lot of them. Outside of the holos, people don't care for most of them. And even the holos, people don't care to pull it besides a select few of them. It's the same in so many games. Pokemon. Do you think people give a shit to pull regular holos? Or really go in depth on the artwork? Do you think people give a shit about the regular EXs that much? No, they don't. But we're over scrutinizing all the artwork and all of how it looks on the cards now, even though odds are we wouldn't have given a fuck about the card to begin with. We're just going to hyperanalyze it. So some of it doesn't, like commons, unless you're playing with it, you probably don't fucking care. Like, to be honest, you probably don't. So I get the scrutinization in some ways, which I'll go into some of that from my own point of view, but some of y'all are taking this way too fucking deep. Let's talk about real quick before I forget and not get back to it later, the rarity system. I'm not a fan of the rarity system. I think it's pretty much a Pokemon copy. And that's fine if they want to do that. It's simple, it's universal. People kind of can figure out, circle is commons, this is rare, this is uncommons, 2 stars is a super rare, whatever it is. This many stars is an alt art rare. I completely understand that. However, if it was me, I would have tried to incorporate the old MetaZoo rarity in a way. And it might not be the best idea, but I would have, and because I'm also biased, I'll admit I'm biased to the old MetaZoo rarity. So keep that in mind when you think of some of your own thoughts. I would have kept like bronze, silver, and gold, and then ones above that, I would have made like, you want to make the alternate art something else, have like platinum and diamond or something, or get other gemstones and stuff like that. Not gemstones, what the fuck am I saying? Can't think of the word right now off the top of my head, so we're not going to delve too much into it. But different types of things, in that same category. You could have tried to do that, just have the different color. But then also for some people, different colors might be a little confusing. It's going to take a little bit of a learning curve. If it's similar to Pokemon, the learning curve is a lot shorter. And it's easier for people universally to understand it. And, more stars makes more sense. A different color might be harder for people to understand, hey, this is a very rare card. I get that part. And I'll get to this later, but with the original artwork that they showed us on some of the cards that we've already seen in Wilderness and UFO in the past, I disagree with how they did it. It just looks like zoomed in parts of that card. It just, I don't know, it looks weird to me, and it looks zoomed in. If it was me, this is just off the top of my head. This could be a dog shit idea, so be aware of that. I would have had a kind of subset, like they might do alternate arts. Like, how Pokemon does the trainer gallery? I'd have had like an OG gallery of like the original artworks, but in full art. They could have had new artists do their own depiction of Griddle Greaser Pete and whatnot, but then keep the OG art as its own separate subset, and that's something that could be done in the future. And I think it would look better as a full art because here's the thing: you have something that's easily comparable, which is a big reason a lot of people are pissed off. If it's a similar size picture compared to the old one, it's just you look at both cards side by side. It's like, all right, which one looks aesthetically more pleasing to them? And I saw someone, who was it? Echoes? I think it was Echoes. He messaged people that had no idea about MetaZoo, and he asked them, hey, which one looks better? And showed them like both Griddle Grease Pete's or both Cumberland's, and they picked the original artwork with the original card art and whatnot. And, you know, that's great and all that they think the original is better, but the problem is there's a direct comparison. It's easy to compare it. There's no difference in them besides the layout. And the layout, if I'm being, like, my opinion, I like MetaZoo's layout better. I'm biased. I'm also opinionated towards that because that's what I'm used to seeing. I do like the less text and everything. I think that they could have the origin of the cryptid or the origin of the terror and whatnot. Maybe the date, but just the origin place I think is fine for me personally. I think they could have that. There's a lot of space on the card, and I do like that there's not a lot going. It looks to be easier to learn, so gameplay I think will be easier to do. But I'm not a fan of the original artwork comparison. It gives people an easier reason to dislike it. And I'm not the biggest fan of what they did. It clearly looks like it's displaced because we have something to compare it to. If we never saw Griddle Greaser Pete on an original, like that art on an original card, I think some people's opinions would be different. I think, in my opinion, I still probably wouldn't be the biggest fan, but I think there's some opinions that would be different if they used unused artwork or they did not have a direct comparison to an already printed card. If it was a full art card or like a trainer gallery card, I think that would have sat better with people. If there's just like a little subset in it, and some people might say, oh, there's already plenty cards enough. Yes, but I can totally see that. If they want to incorporate the art, I think that's a great way to do it. That's, of course, just me spitballing an idea. Could be dog shit, could be something they do in the future. I don't know. Using the artwork for the sake of using the artwork, I think, is a bad idea. And I think they definitely picked the wrong one. Cumberland's not bad. Griddle Greaser just looks like it's zoomed in to me. They both kind of do, but Griddle Greaser more. I don't know why. And it's also different because if you look on like a computer screen, it's different than holding the card in your hand too. So it also could be different if I see it in person. But yeah, that's it for that. I definitely have more to talk about, but in terms of that part, that's how I feel about that. Silver borders. We'll talk about that as I look through this. Sun Wukong, we'll kind of go through the cards in general. Sun Wukong, and I'll just kind of pause it and just show y'all Ghetto Productions, what else you expect from me. Sun Wukong, that's the card art. I like it a lot. I think it's good. Let me not do that again because I'm just going to fuck up the zoom on my camera. You guys could just look at the video, look back on it. I think it's a good artwork. I like it as a full art. I like the back. If you're watching this video, now I think about it too, you've already seen some of this, so you'll know what I'm talking about. I enjoy it. With the auras, I personally think the auras are perfect. I think it works really well with the artwork that they had, with the card layout. It's majority of the card itself. The artwork doesn't look misplaced. It's color matching. I really like it, and I think that's one thing that they did perfectly. It's not the same as MetaZoo, I get it. But I haven't heard anyone bitch about the auras. And I don't think the auras are a problem, personally. If you think that is, you can let me know in the comments below. But I think they did those perfectly. Then we have the Terras. With the Terra that they did show, I'm not the biggest fan, but I'm also, again, biased to what I know before. Biased to what Terras looked like before with pretty much like full art. That's what I'm biased towards. Let me see if I can find a Terra real quick. I don't think I have one like right on hand. I have fusion auras, but that doesn't really help me. Like the regular auras being like that. Jesus, come on. Like the regular auras being like that size, I think is perfect. There's no problem with it. But with Terras, I'm not the biggest fan of it. The artwork's fine. I don't really have an issue with the artwork on it. I think it matches well with the card. I like it how it's horizontal. I'm not a fan of horizontal cards personally, but I do enjoy it. I think it's fine. It's not a big deal. I know someone midnight in the fucking MetaZoo Discard was having a fit that it was bland and whatnot. Like, I get it. You can think that. That's your opinion. I don't care. Everyone's going to have a different opinion on a lot of things, but I don't have a problem with it personally. And then we have the strategy cards. The Power Up Orange, I think that's perfect. I see no problem with it. It's a sick artwork. I think it meshes well with the card, and I think it's really well done. I mean, nothing more to say. It's a sick card in my opinion. And I don't like everything that's here. Let me just make that clear. Spike Collar, I mean, it looks basic, but again, to one of my earlier points, you're not going to give a fuck about the artwork on most of the cards afterwards. Like, you're just not. You cannot name me, most people cannot name a bunch of the commons in certain sets that they think are amazing artwork. They just can't. So if you're going to be overly critical, it's just you're going above and beyond for no reason. But Spike Collar, I don't have a problem with it. It's not a bad card. I think it looks okay. And the other thing is, for some people, the ones that didn't already come to terms with it, that MetaZoo's not going to be the same, and now they're having to come to terms with it because now they're seeing that it's different. That's, on them. You got to wait and let time pass to see if it changes. It could change. With me, I watched the video 3 times last night, and I'm even rewatching it now, looking at it, and I'm not the biggest, detractor of some of the cards. I get it looks... First thing I thought was Lorcana when I saw the cards. And that's not a good thing, because I love the old MetaZoo, as y'all know. Y'all know how much I've collected. But I think a lot of them do work well with the card. It looks a lot more simple. And if people didn't come to grips with it's going to look different right now is like their grieving phase. MetaZoo Crew and his Whatnot show kind of said it best, where people are going through the 5 steps. Anger, grieving, depression, whatever, sadness. Like, people are going through those steps right now as we speak. They didn't go through any of those steps at any point. And the thing that annoys me to an extent is some of these people disappeared, and then now they just came back. Like, they sold off everything, and now they're back, and now they're bitching. Like, you were gone for the whole middle. You are not necessarily their target demographic because you didn't technically give a fuck about the shit before. You dumped all your shit very quickly when it was going bankrupt. You just saw it as a financial investment. And did I see it as a partial financial investment? Yes. But did I go and panic sell? No. The fuck? I've mentioned this in multiple videos before. I was calm as can be. And the second I realized I'm way too calm for this company to go bankrupt and how much money I've spent on this stuff, I know damn well it's going to be fine. It's too good of an idea. Someone's going to pick it up. My gut was telling me not to worry, so I didn't. But people were fire selling. People were freaking out. People were dumping everything left and right, saying everything's worth nothing. This ain't worth shit. And I'm sitting there like, I'll just keep buying all these collections for dirt cheap. Even while I'm doing that at the bottom of all the sales, I'm still making money. I'm still profiting off of a lot of these. A lot of my friends that sold me their collections, I asked them prior. I'm like, are you sure you're okay with this? And they're like, yeah, I'll use it for something else. Yeah, I just want to get out of this. And I'd make money off what they sold me within a few months, if not less in a lot of cases. Like, people were still buying and selling and whatnot. There was no no one's buying. No one's gonna buy any of this shit. It's worth nothing. That's what the masses were doing. They were just saying, oh, it's all worthless. Oh, who's buying it? I had the most new buyers out of pretty much anyone probably for MetaZoo product. I kept getting new buyer after new buyer, talking to new people, and I was selling amazingly. But then all the chatter, all the bullshit. Oh, it's terrible. It's this and that. Just because the majority is speaking doesn't mean there's not people that are still gonna buy it, still buying it, that still like it. That don't mean shit. Just because someone's not talking don't mean a damn thing. It's like I said in the Discord. Because the upset are speaking does not mean there's not plenty who like it not speaking. And that's in the sense of the new cards. You know? And just to clarify from someone who cannot read in that Discord, I stated majority speaking dislike it, not majority dislike it. People, when a lot of people, when they see a lot of discourse, a lot of hate towards something, they don't want to get hate back because they like something that a lot of people are saying they dislike. They don't want to argue. They don't want to bitch and moan. They don't want to deal with that headache. But because the majority are speaking upset about the cards, that means that's, that's it. And the notion of if we kept the original MetaZoo stuff on these new cards, no one would be complaining. That is a whole lot of bullshit. There are so many people that did not like the old MetaZoo layout, did not like the old MetaZoo artwork, that would have bought it if it wasn't like that. Especially because of preconceived notions. Like, there's a lot of people that like the new layout and like the new artwork. And because you don't see it, because you're not hearing it, doesn't mean that's not true. It's like I said with the me selling stuff. Everyone's saying, no one's buying MetaZoo. Go tell that to my fucking eBay where I sold 50 grand plus last year in the downturn of MetaZoo in singles and PSA slabs. Go tell that to my eBay. Like, people love to talk and talk and talk, and they don't know jack shit in a lot of scenarios. It's amusing to me. Like, you have no data, you have no proof, but you think you're right because of a small sample of what you're seeing. A small sample of what you think. Oh, you see a single sell for $2. Oh, MetaZoo's dead. Yet I could sell that same single for $7, $8 and buy it now if I wait a month. It has nothing to do with me if people fire sell. It has nothing to do with me if other people want to get rid of shit for cheap. Because when that runs out, guess what? I still sell my stuff for the prices I want. And people can view some of my stuff as high priced. Again, that's fine. Go look at my track record. Go look at what I make revenue-wise every 3 months. A lot of fucking money for stuff that people say are worthless. So when people want to say, oh, everyone speaking here is upset. Okay. But you want to ignore the couple people I saw that said they actually enjoy it. They think it's a breath of fresh air. They like it. Just because you're loud doesn't mean you're right. It's ridiculous. And there's people not speaking that are upset with it. But there's also a chunk of people that I know that enjoy it and like it or are okay with it that aren't speaking as well. Like, if you just solely go off of that, doesn't mean shit to me. Look at sales. Don't look at sales right now because I don't view any of that from the last few days or today. I'm not going to take any of that consideration. Like, even people buying at $120 a box the other day. Throw that out the window. I'm not using that as an argument. And look over time and look closer to when the boxes come to market. Look and see how the FOMO happens if it does. Look and see how they sell when product's in people's hands. Look what happens when we see the hollow pattern, when we see the chases, when we see ratios in the sets, when we see the alternate box arts. There's so many times people bitch about something and then they go ahead and still buy it anyways, which that's fucking hilarious to me. I see it all the time in Pokemon. People bitch, oh, this set's dog shit. Oh, this is ridiculous. I'm not paying more than this. This is a scam. And then they're still buying behind the scenes or quietly, but they're not going to publicly say anything. Same thing with MetaZoo cards. I know people that were talking shit, but still buying from me. Singles. You talking shit out loud, but you're still buying behind the scenes. Because guess what? I can't see what you do behind... Well, a lot of people can't see what you do behind closed doors. I can see some of it. And I could see all the hypocrites, all the people full of shit. Like, people bitching right now, some of them are still going to buy this set later on. If this set like when it comes out, the prices rise, you best and believe a lot of these people bitching are going to buy it, are going to FOMO into it, don't want to be left out. That's going to happen if it's doing well. If it's not doing well and it goes down, some of those people may still buy it. Less likely, but they still might. I see it being a success. I don't know about immediately or short term. I've always thought that it's going to be an uphill battle, but I think once product gets into people's hands and we start ripping, people will start to see, how it's doing, if they like it or not. They see the actual cards. Because, again, let's be real here. Nightfall. Did most people really give a fuck about a lot of those cards? Outside of, like, the couple Dark Beasties, I personally didn't care about a lot of the other ones. How do I know? Because all the prices have created for, like, Unlucky 13s. Besides, like, Headless Coal Miner, it's okay, and Hell's Gate is okay. All the other ones, no one really gives a fuck about. Who gives a fuck about a Stalactites holo? It's technically an Unlucky 13. Who cares about that card? Like, I don't get it. UFO, what is it? Wilderness, outside of the Wild 7. How many people give a fuck about the other holos? Exactly. Not really any. So we got to see what's available and what we can pull from these packs. There's so many cards that we haven't seen, but we're bitching off of 15 to 20. We're bitching off of some cards that are just commons we're not going to think twice of later. Doesn't make sense. And I don't need to 100% like everything in order to think, all right, I want to chase this card. I want to chase that card. If you're going to master set it, you're going to master set it regardless. If you're going to chase for certain cards, you're going to do that regardless of whether you like the other ones. You like most likely a small amount of cards if you're just collecting. And those are the ones you're going to try to go for. Alt arts for sure is a lot of people. Maybe some of the holos. But commons, uncommons, most people aren't going to just buy an uncommon or a common. They're not. So why are we bitching so much about them? Doesn't make sense to me. We have, let's go back to the cards. The Aguara, the little like fox looking thing. Goddamn, almost at 30 minutes. I've gone on a tangent and a half. And that's the thing, I should have notes. But if something comes to mind right now, I want to go over it because I'm going to be pissed if I forget about it after going over these cards. Aguara looks sick to me. I like it. Not sick, but it looks decent. I like it. It's not a terrible card. It's not an amazing card. It's a fine card. Then we have a caster, which is Maeve, which is interesting. That's a new concept. And you can even see on it that there's a water aura on the bottom right, which I don't think, that's not been announced yet. So we already know there's going to be a water aura in the future. That's another thing. I think they're smart for doing it this route. Start with 4 auras. People were bitching about that before, like weeks ago or whatever. Oh, there's only 4 auras. Like, where's water? Where's this? Where's that? It's not that big a fucking deal. They're trying to not overwhelm you at first. And then just, that's it. All right, here, learn it. They're wanting you to get to want it more, to want to see more things later. A water aura card is going to feel more special in set 2. Because that's the first iteration of water type aura cards. That's my opinion anyways. It's going to feel like it's worth more. It's going to be the debut of something else new. It's going to be something fresh that you didn't see in the last box. I think that's a good idea. And it's easier for people to learn with 4 aura types and go up bigger from that. Kind of like how Pokemon added some later on. But it's a good idea, I think. So the caster, I mean, it just looks like a generic type of artwork for the caster. The artwork's fine, but not my cup of tea. Then we have stuff like Jackalope. That's a cool card in terms of cute drawing. I think it's decent. It's just a common. Nothing bad to say about it. It looks fine. And we have A Tavares. I'd probably mispronounce that. That one, it does kind of look like, for me personally, it's out of place just because we saw the artwork. So you're only getting part of the artwork in it. I think it's out of place and not able to show as much as we saw already. So maybe that's why. Not the biggest fan of this one in terms of the artwork. on it, on the card. I like the artwork more than it on the card personally. And that one's an uncommon. Then we have Spring-Heeled Jack, which is a rare. That was bronze, I think, in Wilderness. I think it was a bronze. It's either bronze or silver. We'll go with bronze. Spring-Heeled Jack, that one's electric. That one, I'm not the biggest fan of it. I think the artwork's okay. I think it looks out of place for being... I can't even remember if they said electric or thunder. Whatever the fuck it is. Let me look back on it real quick before I start saying the wrong shit. Lightning. Jesus Christ. So for a lightning card, it looks a little out of place to me. The artwork, it doesn't mesh well for me. But it's also because it's a lot of darker colors. It doesn't look like that's the aura type it would be. So there's that one. I think the Mothman, some people I've seen, it's a super rare 2 stars. Some people I've seen say it's too comic book like. They don't like it. I like it. It's not full art. It's kind of like a what's it called? It's kind of like the Trainer Gallery type, where it's not necessarily full art, but it kind of is. It looks cool. The silver borders, I don't like. I've watched the video, and this is the 4th time. I don't like the silver borders, mixing it with silver and black. I personally dislike it. I think it's a bad idea. It reminds me a lot of like One Piece. And some of these cards kind of resemble like One Piece, or some resemble like the Digimon style, like Lorcana. It's like a mix of a lot of them. But I don't know. I'm not a fan of the silver borders. And speaking out loud and looking at it, those like kind of super rare cards might just be all silver borders. Looking at it right now, the ones that are like not full art, but most of the art on the card, like a Trainer Gallery, or in illustration rare, I think it is. Kind of like those from Pokemon. I'm not a fan of silver borders. I don't know how it would look like with black borders. It might just look too dark with a dark border. I don't know. But for silver borders, this is the one I like the most. But I'm not a big fan of silver borders for these cards with the layout. Then the alternate art Quetzalcoatlus, full art, like the alternate art, it's perfect in my opinion. If you have a problem with this card, you just, for me personally, you just don't want to like anything from it. If you like none of the cards whatsoever, then this is just not for you. Simple as that. I have no problem with the alternate art. A lot of people I've spoken with have no problem. They like it. But a lot of people focus on some of the other cards. Like I said, commons and whatnot that you're not going to give a shit about anyways. This is a chase card, the Quetz. This is a card a lot of people are going to want. Gameplay-wise, I don't know how good it is. We'll see later on. But artwork-wise, this is one you really want to get. People that love Quetz are going to want this card. It's a sick card. If you think this one's not good, then fucking go find another game, honestly. I don't... You just want to stick to everything from the old MetaZoo. Alright, so some of the other ones we have... Okay, it does look... I'm trying to look at it in kind of like a zoom real quick, so I can not be wrong on this. So for the silver cards, it looks like all of them, the double rares, which are the holo, are all going to be 2 stars and all going to be silver. I don't like it personally, but seeing the artwork of the cards, I don't know, like with the Phoenix one on the top left, I like the artwork, but I don't think black would have worked well on it for what they were going for. I think it would have looked bad. So I can see why they went with silver. I just don't like it. I just don't. Maybe they could have matched the aura that it was, but then it'd look a little too rainbowy on all of the other ones. So I don't know if there would have been a better option. Silver showcases it better. I don't know. I'm conflicted on silver ones. I don't like different borders on the same types of cards personally. Then we have the Aesbon, the little raccoon looking thing. Not a bad artwork, but again, for the aura type, I think it just doesn't mesh well. I'm not a big fan of it. We got Snallygaster. I think the alternate art, I think it's cool. I don't have a problem with it. It's not my favorite, but I think it's a cool card for an alternate art. Cumberland Dragon, I think that one works decently with the color scheme and everything, but I still think it should have probably had, at least been full art, show more of the artwork from the original. And yeah, I just think it was a bad idea making original artwork on these, because now people have a direct comparison and it just gives them a reason more to bitch. Cumberland, I don't really have a problem with it. Griddle Greaser, I think, just looks weird. It just looks zoomed in. I don't know what it is about it. I don't like it. I'm just not a fan of it on this card layout. Cumberland's okay. Basilisk, I think looks sick. I think it just looks like Digimon, to be honest. So, and I get what they're doing with a lot of the artwork. Like, there's a lot of different versions of artwork, and I know Pokemon does it too. They'll have like claymations, they'll have more digital art, they'll have like watercolor, yada yada yada. I just don't think some of it meshes well looking at them side by side in the same set. So, god damn, I need water. I've been talking too much. God damn. But yeah, Basilisk, I'm not the biggest fan of. Maybe with a holo, I'd be more of a fan of it. But it just looks, it looks extremely Digimon-ish to me. It doesn't look like it has its own identity as Musk. And like the super rare Basilisk on the bottom right, that's with the silver borders. Again, I'm not the biggest fan of it. I don't like the silver borders. That's just me personally. I don't like it. But I don't know what other route they could have gone on with some of the backgrounds that are on the cards, if it looked like crap or if they tried it and it just didn't look right. And then yeah, Griddle Greaser Pete, looks fine, but it's just weird to me. I like the art of the original, like on the Flame Tower and the UFO one, but it just looks weird on it from here. Having that direct comparison, it's easier for me to be more judgmental or maybe more critical of it, because I know what the original looked like. I think that's part of the problem. And I think it was a misstep on them for that. I still think kind of having like an alternate art where it's on the full card, I think it would have sat better with some people maybe. Some people might have thought, it looked more bootleg like that too. I don't know. Could be a dog shit idea. It's just off the top of my head. Playmat wise, I don't know the gameplay yet, but looking at it, I think it looks fine. I like it. I have no issues with it. It definitely looks like, that they plan to have at least 2 more auras, just based off of the spacing I see. Might as well just show it here. Fuck it. Like you can see, god damn it. Like spacing right there looks like you could perfectly put another one. Like they're not centered. They're centered with these, but there looks like there's space for 2 more. And we know at least one is water. And then it could be, they could just have 6 auras. Maybe they'll have 8 at one point. I don't know. But playmat looks fine to me. I don't have an issue with it. I like it. I like the colors. So yeah, that's it for that video. Yeah, my overall opinion of it, I think it's going to do fine. I think some people are overreacting. I think some people need to get over this phase, and some will just not want to buy it in general. Some will FOMO afterwards when they see it's doing well. They might give it a shot. They might just buy singles. I personally am not the biggest, detractor. I like a chunk of them. I don't mind a lot of them. There's some cards I just not a fan of, I don't like. And there's cards where even if I'm okay with it, I'm not going to care about it when the set comes out anyways. So why am I going to be like hypercritical on it? I know damn well I'm not going to give a fuck about a common jackalope. So what do I give a shit? Like, you got to be realistic. You got to be somewhat level-headed and not just think emotionally on it. Think of it to a certain extent. If you're just stuck on, no, it's not the old MetaZoo, then fucking is what it is. And I know some of my friends, just not a fan of it, but they also want to give them a chance. Let them see the first set, 2 sets, see it in person, hold the cards maybe, rip some of the products, see how the packs open, see how the holos look, see if they do ever versus or not, how they're going to do that. And they're trying to give it a chance. And I think a lot of people are going to give it a chance, and some people are going to regret not buying earlier. In terms of like pre-orders and whatnot, if you think it's going to stonk out, go for it, pre-order now. If you're on the fence, just be patient. Just wait to pick it up from someone that has them. I personally have distribution, and I got X amount of boxes, and I will be selling them at some point, but I will not be doing pre-orders just because personally, I don't like taking people's money and not having product in hand. I never did that with the old MetaZoo. I'm not doing it now. So whatever happens with it, if it goes down, it goes down. I might hold it a little longer and sell it at a later point. If it stays where it is, or it stays close to, or goes close to like MSRP, I'll sell some boxes. I'll see how it goes. I'll stream some of it. I'll rip some of it. I'll sell boxes sealed. Like, it's all to be determined. And that's just me being completely transparent. I do have a commitment to buy some boxes, and I will get product no matter what. And I wouldn't be buying it if I didn't like at least some of it. If it was strictly financial, I could not spend, hundreds to thousands of dollars. I couldn't. It's everything that I've ever spent money on in the old MetaZoo. If I didn't like it or I had a bad feeling, I lost money on it. If I liked it, I made money on it on most of them. So I just got to listen to my gut, and my guts tell me that this is, not a problem. This is going to be a fine set. It's going to surprise people once it comes out, I think. And I don't mind it. And people need to have time to look it over and get over the comparison part. There's always things. People don't like change. At the end of the day, people don't like change. It's just how it is. There's times I don't like change. Like, it's just how it is, how a lot of us are wired. Like, when an example is when CGC switched from blue to the black labels, like more of the, what was it, their parent company? I can't remember. The one that was with sports cards that they had. I can't remember the name of it. But when they switched to like those type labels and I had a gold pristine, I liked the gold pristine. I didn't like the other ones. Why? Because I was biased towards the blue. It stood out more. A lot of people were more biased towards it, and it stood out more. They didn't like the basic look. They didn't like any of that. And as time went on, people got used to it. People started to like it. People started to favor them. And you see pristine 10s for a lot of cards go for more money than PSA 10s for like Pokemon. Not a shit ton of cards, but, a chunk of cards. So I think it's just a time thing for some people. You need to have time to take in that information, it to settle with you, and then make your decision then. If you still don't want to pre-order, if you still don't want to buy, then don't. Maybe you'll want to down the road. Maybe you'll just not look back. But if you're just going to make an emotional decision, then, like, come on. And if this is me personally speaking right now to these people that did this, if you pre-ordered with no information whatsoever, and you're saying you're going to cancel it now, you made the financial decision to pre-order without knowing anything. Okay? Let me grab my fucking charger. Let me move this over, because I'm going to be pissed if this fucking goddamn video gets cut off. Let me put this charging somewhere before I get pissed off. Alright, fuck this cord. Don't know what that's connected to. We're going to find out later when it's not working. I'm going to say fuck that cord. And this is Ghetto Productions. You're not going to see a goddamn cut All right, charging. Jesus Christ, I wasn't supposed to talk for 45 fucking minutes, David. You don't shut up sometimes. But there's a lot to go over. Anyways, what was I rambling about? Oh, for the people that pre-ordered and they just want to message all these sellers, oh, I want to cancel, I want to do this. You already committed money to them. It might have impacted what they ordered. I think that's a you problem. If you pre-ordered not knowing anything about the set, thinking it was going to be the same as old MetaZoo, that's on you. I would not want to refund those pre-orders personally. I think if you're going to spend money willy-nilly like that, that's on you. I feel for some of these LGSs and some of these stores that already have people like, oh, I want a refund. Oh, I don't want to pre-order anymore. Oh, take me off this pre-order list. You willfully committed money to something you knew nothing about the cards themselves. That's on you. That's what you... If you did that and now you're upset that it's not what you expected with no fucking realistic like expectations given to you. Charlie and the team have continuously under-promised and then just straight up delivered what they say they're going to do. They have not promised us anything that they didn't give us. And again, if you want to say, oh, he said he was listening, shut the fuck up. No offense, but a lot of people in that Discord have some dog shit ideas. It's like seeing the old MetaZoo Discord and seeing dog shit ideas or ideas that aren't, going to help them in the future. Good Lord. I saw a lot of dumb shit said in the past with the old MetaZoo. And that's why I said the Discord was a bad idea talking-wise, because Jesus Christ. I think it should be taken down the talking part later on, because my God, some of y'all need a fucking not. But the whole pre-order thing, it says more on you if you commit your own hard-earned money to something you know nothing about. That you don't have information that is going to willfully impact you. That says more about you than anything. It doesn't say anything about the company, in my opinion. It says more about you. You spent your money knowing nothing about it. Are you fucking dumb? You should have just waited. But you FOMO'd into it. Just like you might FOMO later if people like the product. You might FOMO in later for a higher price. That's just how it is and how it's going to go for some people. Possibly. I'm not. There's no certains in life. Could go lower than MSRP. Well, it's already currently like people are selling it for less than MSRP, but like $80 a box. Could it go below that? Sure. Could it go above it? Sure. Have to wait and see because we don't know print run. And if people are expecting Charlie to share print run info, I got bad news for you. I think that'd be a stupid fucking idea on his part. I hope he doesn't share the print run. And you just kind of see like Pokemon does. You can tell print run to an extent from how much is available in the open market. If it disappears all in 3 months, there you go. Now you know the print run wasn't massive. If it's selling like crazy and, there's 3-4 sellers left that have it on eBay, you can guess print run. You can kind of tell print run to an extent from availability. The less and less sellers that have it available, either they're holding it or it just sold for what they had. And there's a lower print run of it. I think they're going to do fine with print run. I don't think they're going to have a major problem with it. They're going to print enough for gameplay and everything. But they're not going to print 100,000. They're not going to print 50,000. I don't know what the magic number is. Off the top of my head, 10 to 20,000. 25 is pushing it, but 10 to 25,000 makes sense. If they're not going to have other ancillary products like spellbooks, like blisters, or I'm assuming they'll have theme decks or pre-con decks, something like that. But if they're not going to have blisters, then they can print more booster boxes. If they don't have all these other product lines, then they can print more of a specific one. Like booster boxes, like even with a 25K or 50K print run in MetaZoo. That might not have been terrible if you didn't have all the other products with it. If you didn't have spellbooks, if you didn't have theme decks, release event decks, blisters, it's 24 packs per box. And that's the last thing I'll talk about because I'm just fucking rambling and this is an hour. And if you stuck to this part, good lord, I appreciate you. And fuck, why did you listen to me talk this long? But I really like the 24 packs per box. I think a problem with the old MetaZoo is it got stale very, very quickly, just opening a couple boxes. And then now you're just trying to chase the card you want if you didn't pull it already. With new MetaZoo, if there's 200 plus cards, if there's a bunch of these different rarities, and say there's like 25 alt arts and you get an alt art a box, then you have, it's harder to get things, it's funner to chase for them. Even the super rares and the not, you know, stupid expensive cards are going to be funner to pull because you're not going to see the same card every single box. There might be commons and uncommons you don't see in a box. There might be super rares that you don't see 4, 5, 6 boxes in. MetaZoo, you got sick of those fucking orbs and those artifacts very goddamn quickly. If you opened Wilderness and you got a couple wild sevens and you didn't pull them after that, then you were a little pissed off. If you got 33 reverses and 3 hollows, you were pissed off. Like, it was easy to get bored and stale of it. In terms of MSRP of 120, that's a decision. I think they're a little out of their mind. I think it's a little bit more of a luxury product pricing. And I don't fully agree with it. I think 100 would have been better. Even like 95, so people have that mental bullshit of, oh, it's not $100. I don't know why. People go from, if you go from like 99 to 100, all of a sudden 100's a problem. I don't get why. But the MSRP of 120, I'm not, you know, in agreement of it. However, there's also, as far as I know, there's no map. There's no price that people have to stick to. Retailers can sell them for whatever they want to sell them to, which sucks in terms of, you know, race to the bottom and people already racing to the bottom beforehand, which is ridiculous. It's a big reason why some of the things I collected because it's rarer and people can't race to the bottom with me because you probably don't got the shit I got. So there's no worry of that. With these boxes, I think it's going to fluctuate. I've seen people sell them at 120. I've seen people sell them at 110, 100, 95, as low as 80. But I think it's going to go up at some point in the short term. How much it goes up, I don't know. I'm pretty sure that Charlie, if he needs to, is going to reprint some. And I hope these at least have a first edition mark or something. I doubt they will. It doesn't look like it from the cards, like just looking at it at a glance. I haven't like done a deep dive into it. But if we're going to have multiple waves, I would prefer a designation to be able to tell the difference. Would be nice, like the old Pokemon style, but I get it if they don't. And yeah, I think that's about it. Y'all have heard me ramble for enough. This video is going to go up Sunday night just because I let everyone else get their talking out the way first, and then I'll give my opinion after. And I have something a lot more special I wanted to show tonight, which tomorrow is going to be the night before. I'd much rather show it. People are bitching and this and that. Give you a little bit more time to sit on it and me just share my feelings about it now. So, yeah, we'll just end it with I get people's frustrations to an extent. I think a lot of people just need to sit on it, and yet a lot of people need to look at the cards again. If you're still not happy with it, I get it. If you were expecting old Zoo and you're upset because it's not exactly old Zoo or close to it, you set yourself up for failure and disappointment. That's on you. That's not on Charlie. And they're listening, but there's a reason he owns the company and we don't. Well, you don't. There's a lot of things I would say me and Charlie probably agree on in terms of business. And a lot of things y'all have seen with me where business-wise, I try to not deal with my emotions with making financial decisions. And a lot of them work out well, and I'm more of a middle ground where I see both sides of it. So, yeah, that's about it. 55 minutes almost. Jesus fuck, I can talk. I only need to take a sip of water 2 or 3 times. All right, y'all. let's call that one for here. I appreciate y'all watching. If you made it to this far of the video, holy fuck. And let me know your opinions down below. If you hate it, you can say you hate it. I get it. If you dislike certain things, you can tell me that. If you're just gonna bitch and moan and say it's not like old MetaZoo, then just save your breath, save your bitching. It's not worth it, and I don't give a fuck to hear it. I'm just gonna tell you to hold my dick. So, just saving you the time. I gotta trademark that. I gotta get some fucking shirts. Just like a couple of each. And just... I'm talking too much. I'll catch y'all later. Peace.